Okay, so we're diving into this whole wildfire situation that just went down in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. It's just crazy the scale of this thing. I
Yeah.
mean, 31,000 acres. That's just it's mind blowing. And then 180,000 people forced out of their homes. It's just nuts.
And Malibu especially, like we all know it's a haven for celebrities
Yeah.
and the rich and famous, and these fires really just ripped right through there. The impact on the entire community has been absolutely devastating. But for a deep dive today, we're gonna focus specifically on those celebrities who lost homes in these fires.
Yeah, because you see these headlines about the scale of disaster.
Right.
But it's those personal stories that really kind of hit you in the gut.
Yeah.
We're talking about Tom Hanks, Jennifer Aniston, Ben Affleck.
Right.
These are people we see on screen all the time. But now we're seeing a different side of their lives.
Right.
A side marked by loss, by uncertainty, by fear. It's really powerful.
It's amazing how these events, as tragic as they are, they kind of strip away that sort of that celebrity veneer, and you just see, the human experience.
Yeah.
We all grapple with loss, we all grapple with fear, we all have to find a way to rebuild, and it doesn't matter what your social status is.
Totally. Okay, so let's start with Sandra Lee,
Okay.
the celebrity chef. Her home in Malibu, this beautiful multi-million-dollar home, it was right in the path of the fire.
Yeah, the house itself was incredible.
Yeah.
It was this blend of modern and rustic design. It was nestled in these hills, just beautiful. But what's really interesting is how Sandra Lee described it as more than just a house,
Yeah. Yeah.
She really put her heart and soul into making this home a reflection of her personality.
Yeah, and she posted this incredibly raw message on Instagram. You could just feel the emotion in her words.
Absolutely.
Just talking about how much that home meant to her and how much of herself she'd poured into it.
And beyond the design, the aesthetics, she talked about how this home had been like a source of strength for her
Oh, wow.
during some really tough times in her life. It really makes you think about that deep psychological connection we have to our homes. They're more than just, bricks and mortar.
Right. It's that sense of safety and stability and identity
Right.
that gets just shattered when you lose your home. And speaking of that, Mel Gibson, he actually found out that his home had burned down while he was recording a podcast.
Can you imagine? He was on the Joe Rogan Experience when the news broke. Talk about, surreal experience.
Yeah.
That Malibu home, he bought it back in 2010, $8 million.
Wow.
But he described it as a place where he had lived for a long time, and he kept all of his stuff there.
It's interesting how he emphasized this stuff because it's not just about, the monetary value.
Yeah.
It's the emotional weight of those objects, you know.
Right. Each one of those objects has a story. It represents a chapter in your life.
Yeah.
And when those are gone, it's like, it's like losing pieces of yourself.
Yeah, totally. And then there's Cameron Matheson, who lost the family home where his kids grew up.
Right.
They dreamed of raising their own families there someday, and now it's just gone.
He shared a photo on Instagram of what was left.
Oh, wow.
Just charred remains, this stark silhouette against this smoky sky.
Oh, man.
It's just this visual reminder of how quickly everything can change.
Yeah.
And how vulnerable we all are to these forces beyond our control.
Yeah, it's a gut punch.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all this loss, there were also these stories of incredible courage and community spirit.
Yeah.
Like Steve Guttenberg, he actually ended up helping the firefighters.
Wow.
He was moving abandoned cars to clear access for the emergency vehicles.
It's just incredible how he didn't hesitate to jump in and help.
Right.
Even though he was facing his own personal losses. I mean, it really highlights that instinct to protect and support each other that really kicks in during these kinds of events.
It's like in the face of this immense shared threat, all the individual differences just fade away.
Right.
And what emerges is this sense of collective purpose.
Yeah.
This desire to just help however you can. And while some were helping on the grounds, others were using social media to keep people informed, like James Woods.
Yeah.
He was posting live updates on X as he evacuated. You can just feel the urgency and panic in his posts.
Those firsthand accounts, those raw, unfiltered glimpses into that experience of evacuating with the with the flames closing in.
Yeah.
They give you such a visceral sense of what it was like to actually be there in that moment.
Oh, absolutely. And then you had Eugene Levy from Schitt's Creek.
Right?
He was on the phone with the LA Times describing how intense the smoke was. He couldn't even see the flames.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine that feeling?
Yeah.
Of not knowing whether your home is going to be there when you're finally allowed to return.
The uncertainty, the waiting, the not knowing.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been just agonizing.
Oh, totally. And for Mandy Moore, she and her husband had just renovated this beautiful Spanish Revival home.
Right.
And now they're evacuating with their 3 young kids and their pets.
Oh.
You know, she talked about trying to shield her kids from the sadness and worry.
Right.
And it makes you think about that added layer of complexity when you have young children to care for during something like this.
Absolutely. You know, you're not only dealing with your own fear and anxiety, but, you know, you're trying to protect your kids from the emotional fallout.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you're trying to manage all the logistics of evacuating with little ones and pets.
Oh, it's a lot to handle.
Yeah.
And then for Emily Proctor from The West Wing,
Right.
her story is particularly heartbreaking. She found out her home was gone from a complete stranger.
Oh my gosh. That's a real gut punch.
Yeah.
To have such a pivotal moment in your life delivered by someone you don't even know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just underscores the chaos and disorientation of these events,
Yeah.
how information can spread in such unpredictable ways.
It's like the ground beneath you just shifts.
Right.
And you're left grasping for any kind of certainty, any sense of normalcy. And she talked about how much she loved her neighborhood, the sense of community.
Right.
And now it's gone.
It's a reminder that these fires don't just destroy homes, you know, they disrupt lives,
Right.
relationships, they disrupt entire communities.
Yeah,
And the ripple effects are just profound.
absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a quick pause here. When we come back, we'll delve into more of these personal accounts, exploring the range of emotions and experiences that these fires have unleashed.
It's really incredible to see the outpouring of support, not just from within these communities, but from outside, too.
Yeah.
Donations are pouring in, volunteers are mobilizing. There's just this surge of compassion.
Yeah, it's like this collective empathy that's emerged, even for folks who weren't directly impacted by the fires.
Right.
Everyone kind of feeling the weight of this tragedy.
Right.
You know? And I think social media has played a really interesting role in all of this. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, social media it's definitely a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it can amplify anxiety, you know, it can spread misinformation.
Right.
But it also provides this incredibly powerful platform for sharing those real-time updates, for connecting people and for offering support. And in this case, I think we've really seen it used as a tool to coordinate relief efforts, to share those personal stories and to really express solidarity.
Yeah, it's like this window into the human experience of this disaster.
Yeah.
Both the raw emotion and then also the incredible acts of kindness.
Right.
Okay, so speaking of raw experiences, let's talk about some more of these personal accounts. We left off with Emily Proctor finding out about her home from a stranger.
Right.
Now let's move on to Paris Hilton, who actually watched her Malibu home burn on live TV with her family.
She later posted that it was the place where she'd built so many precious memories.
Oh, wow.
The place where her son took his first steps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's those personal details, those irreplaceable moments that were woven into the fabric of a home that really, you know, they just hit you in the gut.
It's like losing a part of your history, your identity.
Right.
And then there's Julianne Hough. She was posting live on Instagram, urging people to evacuate as she was documenting the flames getting closer and closer to her home in the Hollywood Hills.
Oh, wow.
You could just feel the adrenaline, the urgency, the sheer terror of the situation.
It really gives you a sense of just how fast these fires can spread. You know, they're fueled by those notorious Santa Ana winds.
Right.
They whip through the canyons and create these just intense, unpredictable firestorms.
Mm.
It's a force of nature that's just hard to comprehend unless you've experienced it firsthand.
That's a great point about the Santa Ana ones.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the fires themselves. It's the specific environmental factors that make California so susceptible to these kinds of disasters.
Exactly. And those factors are becoming increasingly relevant, you know, as climate change intensifies. It's creating drier conditions. It's extending the fire season. It's a complex issue with far-reaching consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's bring it back to those personal stories for a moment. We were talking about Julianne who was documenting her evacuation.
Right.
Billy Crystal and his wife, Janice, they lost their home in Pacific Palisades,
Right.
a place they had lived for over 40 years.
Yeah.
They raised their children there, their grandchildren.
I mean, just imagine the layers of memory that are embedded in a home like that. 4 decades worth of birthdays, of holidays, of family gatherings.
It's almost like losing a tangible representation of your family history.
Yeah.
You know, Billy Crystal released a statement saying, and I'm quoting here, "Words cannot describe the enormity of the devastation we are witnessing and experiencing."
Hmm.
And it's true. Like, how do you even begin to process that kind of loss?
It's a really profound experience of grief, not just for the physical structure, but for the intangible things that it represented, the security,
Right.
the stability, the family legacy.
Yeah.
And it's made even more complex when you consider the shared grief of a community, the collective trauma of so many people going through the same thing.
Yeah, it's like this shared wound, a collective scar on the landscape of the community.
Right.
Okay, so now, Milo Ventimiglia, who plays Jack Pearson on This Is Us, he had a particularly eerie experience.
Yeah.
His Malibu home burned down in the same way his character died on the show. A house fire.
Oh, wow. He was actually watching it burn on his security cameras.
No way.
Imagine that surreal feeling.
Yeah.
Like the blurring of fiction and reality.
Yeah.
As you witness the place you call home being consumed by flames. It must have been incredibly disorienting and traumatic.
He talked about how it's, quote, not lost on him that life was imitating art in this way. I mean, what are the chances?
It's a stark reminder that these events can happen to anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And they really force us to confront our own mortality, our vulnerability to these forces that are beyond our control.
Okay, so then we have Ricki Lake, who lost her dream home,
Right.
the place where she and her husband got married.
Oh, wow.
She posted on Instagram that it was, quote, heaven on earth,
Yeah.
and now it's, quote, all gone.
It's that sense of the future being ripped away.
Yeah.
The plans and dreams that you had for that space.
It's heartbreaking. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt, who also lost her home, she just posted that she was, quote, praying and holding as much hope as I can.
In the face of such immense loss, it's understandable to seek solace and faith and hope.
Yeah.
To find some source of comfort and strength to help navigate that overwhelming grief.
Absolutely. And Whitney Cummings, the comedian, she was evacuating with her family, and she posted, quote, this changes everything forever.
And she's not wrong.
Yeah,
These kinds of events have a way of shifting your perspective.
Yeah.
They force you to really reevaluate your priorities and what truly matters in life.
Right. It's a reminder that material possessions are just that, possessions.
Right.
What truly matters is the well-being of your loved ones, the strength of your connections.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of profound loss, Maria Shriver, she also lost her home, and her message really resonated with me. She wrote, quote, everything is gone. Our neighborhood, our restaurants, all our friends have lost everything. It's that communal loss,
Right.
the ripple effect of these fires that extends far beyond those individual homes.
It really speaks to the interconnectedness of a community, how these events, they create a shared experience of grief and loss,
Yeah.
but also a shared sense of resilience and determination to rebuild.
Yeah, and even Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, he had to evacuate his Malibu home. He was describing seeing, quote, small fires on both sides of the road as he was driving out.
Wow.
Just really paints a picture of how widespread the danger was.
Yeah, it's a chilling reminder of the unpredictable nature of these fires.
Right.
How they can just erupt and spread with terrifying speed, leaving this devastation in their wake.
And Heidi Montag and Spencer Pratt from The Hills, they lost their home too.
Right.
Spencer's sister Stephanie posted the news, and you could just feel her heartbreak for them.
Right.
They were starting their lives over in that home.
Yeah, starting over is a recurring theme in a lot of these stories.
Yeah.
It's about picking up the pieces, finding the strength to rebuild, and rediscovering that sense of normalcy after such a profound disruption.
Yeah, it's like a forced reset.
Yeah.
A chance to reevaluate what's important and to create a new vision for the future.
Right.
And speaking of families impacted by these fires, Travis Barker's kids, Landon in Alabama, they had to evacuate their home in Pacific Palisades. They were They were posting updates on Instagram. You could feel their fear, their uncertainty.
These events are particularly traumatic for children,
Yeah.
who often lack the coping mechanisms and the emotional maturity to really process such intense experiences.
Yeah.
It's so crucial to provide them with support and reassurance and a sense of stability during those difficult times.
Absolutely. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, uh, she initially was just worried about her community and her own home. She posted, quote, "My community and possibly my home is on fire." And later she confirmed the loss of her home.
Right.
And she pledged to donate $1 million to those affected by the fires.
It's an inspiring act of generosity. It demonstrates her commitment to her community,
Yeah.
her recognition of that wider impact of these disasters.
It also speaks to the power of collective action
Right.
and the importance of supporting each other during times of crisis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Josh Gad, who has lived in LA for 20 years, he said he had never seen anything like these fires before. He talked about the devastation, the firefighters putting their lives on the line.
Right.
Their bravery is astounding.
Yeah, those first responders are the unsung heroes of these events.
Absolutely.
They risk their lives to protect others.
Yeah.
They're battling these unpredictable flames, facing unimaginable danger.
Right.
Their courage and their selflessness deserves our deepest gratitude.
Absolutely. And Rob McElhaney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he is safe with his family. But he posted about the vast scale of the destruction, how entire neighborhoods were just wiped out.
Right.
And like Josh Gad, he also thanked the first responders for their heroism. It's a sobering reminder that behind the headlines and those celebrity stories,
Yeah.
there are countless lives that are affected, countless homes that are lost, and just a long road to recovery ahead.
The rebuilding process will be long and complex. It's going to require immense resources. It's going to require community support and individual resilience.
Yeah.
It's a collective effort that'll take time.
Yeah.
It'll take patience and it'll take compassion.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of it all.
Right.
But it's important to remember that even small acts of kindness, small contributions to relief efforts, they can make a difference.
Absolutely. Every bit of support, every gesture of empathy, it helps to strengthen the fabric of a community.
Right.
And it contributes to the collective healing process.
Okay, let's take a moment to just absorb all of this. When we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the aftermath of those Malibu wildfires. Okay, so we're back, and I gotta say, these stories we've been talking about, they're really staying with me. It's been a lot, hearing about so much loss.
Yeah, it's definitely been heavy, But as we kind of shift our focus now to the aftermath, I think it's important to acknowledge that incredible resilience we've seen,
Yeah.
both on an individual and a community level.
Yeah, you're right. In the face of such devastation, there's also this inspiring wave of generosity and strength and this determination to rebuild.
Absolutely. Take Melissa Rivers, for example.
Oh, yeah.
She lost the home she shared with her mother, Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
A place filled with family history and irreplaceable memories.
Right. And in that chaotic moment of having to evacuate, she grabbed her mom's Emmy Award, a photo of her dad, and a drawing her mother had done of her and her son.
It's really fascinating, that insight into what we instinctively prioritize in those moments of crisis.
Yeah.
For Melissa, it was those tangible connections to her loved ones, the objects that held the most emotional weight.
Yeah. It's like she was trying to salvage the essence of her family history,
Yeah.
to preserve those precious connections amidst all that chaos. And speaking of families, Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, they had to evacuate with their 4 young children and their pets.
Wow, that's got to be stressful.
Oh, incredibly stressful. But they managed to find these little moments of humor amidst the chaos.
I mean, it's that ability to find levity in those dark times, to hold on to a sense of normalcy for their children. I think that speaks volumes about their resilience as parents.
Totally. Remember that video of Chrissy packing a bearded dragon?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was just this reminder that even in the midst of this terrifying ordeal, there can be these little glimmers of lightheartedness, these moments that help you cope with the overwhelming anxiety.
It's about finding those pockets of of joy and connection that help us navigate those difficult situations, and maintain that sense of hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's Jeff Bridges, who lost the Malibu home that had been in his family for generations.
Oh, wow.
It's a devastating loss, no doubt.
Yeah.
But he and his family are safe, and they seem to be approaching this tragedy with this sense of perspective and gratitude.
It speaks to a deep understanding that material possessions, while they hold sentimental value, they can be replaced.
Right.
What truly matters is the well-being of your loved ones and the strength of those bonds.
Right. It's about recognizing what's truly irreplaceable. And Candy Spelling, Tori Spelling's mom, she also lost her home on Malibu's Pacific Coast Highway, this massive estate filled with luxury and opulence.
And she spoke about the loss with a sense of acceptance.
Yeah.
Focusing on the memories that she made there rather than the material value of the property.
It's almost like this experience prompted this shift in perspective,
Right.
this reevaluation of what constitutes true wealth.
Exactly. It's a reminder that ultimately our most valuable possessions aren't material things. They're the intangible, the memories, the relationships, the experiences.
And then Jhené Aiko's home was destroyed as well. Her daughter posted the news, but emphasized that thankfully, Jhené and her dog were safe.
It's that primal sense of relief, that overwhelming gratitude for the safety of loved ones that shines through even in the face of such immense personal loss.
It's a testament to the power of love and connection, those fundamental human bonds that transcend even the most challenging circumstances.
Right.
And Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mom, she lost her bungalow in Malibu, a place she called her sanctuary, her secret happy place.
It's heartbreaking to imagine losing such a special place, but what's remarkable is her focus on the beauty that still surrounds her.
Yeah.
She posted a video of dolphins swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
Finding solace and a sense of peace amidst all the turmoil.
It's about finding those sources of strength and hope that help us navigate those difficult times. And for Eric Braeden, who was filming the flames as they approached his home, it was about channeling his grief into action. He's already talking about starting over, about rebuilding from the ashes.
It's that determination to rebuild, to reclaim a sense of agency in the face of such profound loss. It's incredibly inspiring.
It's a reminder that even when it feels like everything's been taken away, we still have the power to choose how we respond, how we move forward.
Right.
And Kaylee Cuoco, who initially regretted not grabbing her wedding dress, ultimately acknowledged that material possessions just don't matter as much as the safety of her loved ones.
It's a powerful shift in perspective that often emerges from these kinds of experiences.
Yeah.
It's about realizing what truly matters, what holds enduring value in our lives.
Absolutely. And Lisa Vanderpump, who lost her forever home, the place where she'd built so many dreams and memories, she's also focusing on the positive. She's expressed gratitude for the outpouring of support and is determined to rebuild.
It's about embracing resilience. It's about refusing to let tragedy define you.
Yeah.
And finding that strength to move forward with hope and determination.
And then there's Jen Atkin, the hairstylist who lost her home, and she's been highlighting the way her community has come together to support each other.
Right.
Even amidst their own losses, they're helping each other, they're checking in, they're offering comfort.
It's such a beautiful example of the power of community.
Yeah.
How shared experiences, even those marked by tragedy, can foster a deeper sense of connection and empathy and solidarity.
And Barbara Corcoran, who lost her entire mobile home community, has channeled her grief into action. She set up a GoFundMe page to help her neighbors rebuild.
It's a remarkable act of generosity. It's a testament to her compassion and her commitment to helping her community heal and rebuild.
So it's been a really emotional journey diving into these stories of loss and resilience. What stands out to you from all of this?
I think what strikes me the most is how these fires have just laid bare the fragility of life, the power of nature, and the profound importance of human connection. We've seen immense loss, but we've also witnessed these incredible acts of courage and generosity and resilience.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit finds a way to endure, to adapt, and to rebuild. And as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought. How have these stories resonated with you? What lessons have you gleaned about resilience, about community, about the things that truly matter in life? We encourage you to reflect on these questions and to find ways to carry that spirit of hope and compassion forward in your own life.